Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the Ligue Player of the Month. We have some good ones. The voting just came out today. Obviously, by the thumbnail, you can see Neymar has the potential to win it. And I do think he is, as long as he can get the vote. His only other competitor really is going to end up being Volland. Let's just get right into it, guys. So here are the nominees on the official, Twitter right here. We have Neymar, Volland, and then Bulaya. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. I can't pronounce. But we do have, some they all had decent months. Volland obviously playing 2 more games than Neymar though. 5 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. Where Neymar, he's actually down this list. He had 3 games, 3 goals, 2 wins and a loss. Same contributions per game, 1 per game. So, pretty decent. And then Bulaya, same here. They won all 3 games. He had 2 goals and an assist in 3 games. So a contribution a game. With that being said though, I do think it's going to end up being Volland or Neymar. Now, I don't know how the voting works all the way, but we're going to go over any scenario in which either of these guys wins. Personally, I still think it's going to end up being Neymar, just because, the fan votes and all that good stuff. But yeah, so let's get right into it. Obviously, there's a few different things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about fodder investments. We're going to talk about, what's going to happen in the market. We'll take a look at what happened last year when Neymar won it, as well as kind of just comparing, the current SBCs we've seen so far. So before we get right into the fodder, what are the requirements going to be? I think they're going to be fairly expensive, guys. The SBC last year was around 2.4-ish mil on Xbox. I'd imagine we see a similar price. Right now, the inform is actually sitting at around 1.6, 1.7 mil on Xbox, of course. PlayStation's a little bit higher. But I like to compare it to Bruno because last year, Bruno's last card, was very good. It was a little bit cheaper. But what we saw, and we've kind of seen this trend for a while now, we saw 84s, 85s. So essentially what we're going to see with Neymar is all these ratings from 84 up to 88, maybe even an 89, depending on the pricing of them. Again, like I said, a fair value would be sitting at around 2.4-ish mil. Anything under would be really good, and you'd see the market, fodder market would go crazy. And then, going up higher, obviously that would mean less people are going to do it. But what we see is the 87, the 86, and the 85s. Those informs are needed. I don't think we've seen a squad this year that needed any informs higher than an 87 anyways. So that's something we're going to take into account when looking to invest. Now, looking at the lowest, players by ratings, any of the 85s, 86s, maybe the 84s too, are never a bad shout. 87s as well. If you think it's going to be Volland, obviously you want to go for the lower rated cards. But I will say, even if the player of the month isn't how it turns out to be and fodder doesn't do as well, you have to take into account we're seeing Future Stars Team 2 coming out soon. We have the potential for Prime Icon Moments coming out very soon. So there's a lot of really good potential for SBCs to come out anyway. So I think fodder, regardless of what happens, is going to do very well. Not to mention it took a big dip in the past couple weeks just due to the fact the SBCs were really bad. And it's starting to pick back up again. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing, fodder continue to go up. I don't think it's going to stop here. Of course, when you're picking up fodder cards, I always recommend the defender positions and left mid, right mid. The scarce positions, I say this for a reason. There's so many center mids, so many attackers, which means there's just less of a chance that those cards go up because there's less alternatives. Whereas, if we need an 88 rated center back, Koulibaly's your only choice at gold right now. Laporte and Chiellini are your only other choices right now. So those are just things to take into account, guys. That these fodder cards are just, they're very scarce in these positions. It's why I always recommend them. Heading into the informs, so we'll head away from the regular golds. The informs, like I said, anything from 84 to 87 I think is a good shout. Informs always do very well. Try to find them that have big gaps, as far as, like Kostic has like a 5k gap, as far as the 86s, 87s go. We're seeing these kind of fodder cards that would be needed. Obviously, you want to try and choose them where they're going to link better, like a French guy, the whole ordeal. The good nations, good leagues, good positions, that kind of stuff. But I will say this, guys, with these informs, again, like a card like this, you do want to pick up these cards that'll link better because people will be more likely to choose these kind of cards. Now, I could see Volland. If it is Volland, he'll likely be, 83, 84 rated team or something like that. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Of course, Neymar, we're going to see much more, higher rated cards. So the higher rated cards will do better if we got Neymar. Obviously, the lower rated ones will do better without Neymar, but we'll have to wait and see what EA choose for that. Now, what's going to happen to the market, guys? Can we invest in links? I'm going to go, and I'm just going to say it, no. Don't invest in any attacker links at all. The only ones maybe that could be good, and maybe, they're not even that great, honestly, would be if we were to get, a French League left back, any of the guys. But realistically, there's just nobody really good to link. And I'm going to show you guys last year when Neymar came out. He came out on February 20th last year. And what happened when his card came out is his other versions ended up dying. And the links also died too. And this was just due to a number of things that we're going to end up getting this month anyways too. Like Prime Icon Moments, again, more future stars, all that good stuff. But here's Neymar, came in around 2.4 mil. And as you can see, his other versions dropped down. And Golden Mbappe, he had a very similar graph to Neymar. In the fact that he dipped down right about here at the February 20th range. And I'd imagine this is going to be something that continues. We're going to see this month. I just don't think links are good. And judging off of this year, there's not really any good left backs to kind of link this Neymar if he is at left wing. Obviously at cam, that's a different story, but still, there's so many different cards you can link when he's at cam that it's not worth doing link investments. And again, the same thing will kind of happen here. Again, the only left backs that we have are, you have Amavi's Headliner and Kamara's Rule Breaker. But those cards are like 30k, and I never recommend investing in a card that's 15, 20k when to link with a card that's 2 mil plus. It just isn't worth it. And the only card I'd say is worth investing in would be like Roberto Carlos. He would be the only one that would have a direct link to Neymar. So that is something to take into account, obviously. It's up to you guys. I'd say it's very risky, but again, it's your guys' call if you want to do that. Like stumbling on words here, but now what's going to happen to the market? What's going to happen to Neymar's card? That's the interesting one. I know a lot of people are going to be asking about that because in the past we've seen cards kind of been panic sold, and Bruno's a good example of that for substitute trading. And I think it's going to be very, very good here. Now, last year Neymar's kind of tough to see because he did have a few cam cards. The cam cards didn't really move too much. The left winger cards did though. If Neymar is a left mid and he's not a cam this year, you will see this card dip, and you will see this card definitely dip even more. And this is just due to the fact that there's a better version coming out. And regardless of how cheap Neymar is, obviously if he's cheaper, this card will go down more. If he's more expensive, he'll obviously go up. So again, that's something that you have to put your faith into EA for. It's not obviously the most ideal situation, but it is something you'll have to do. But I do see Neymar probably coming down a little bit in panic. If he does win it and he is a little bit cheaper, you will see this card get panic sold. But here's where the substitute trading comes in handy. This card will rebound. They always get oversold. And that's something that you have to do on the day. But, let's say Neymar drops. This card drops down, 300k or something. Just hypothetical numbers. You can pick him up at that bottom. You see him kind of starting to get bought up at around that bottom price. You buy them, and then, you'll eventually, go up. Now, the thing with the Player of the Months, it's untradeable, guys. It's untradeable. So the tradable cards usually are a little bit, better to have, and I think the Inform would rebound due to the fact that it is tradable. Now, real quick, before we wrap up the video, Bruno Fernandes, he's had multiple Player of the Months, and you'll be able to kind of see these dips come in, and then these kind of little rebounds. So right around here, hold on, let me pull up the 92. I just want to see the dates that came out. But as you can see, these kind of dips come in. So this card dropped on the 15th of January. So the team of the group stage for Bruno, what ended up happening for this card is, again, that new version that came out was very cheap. And in return, you saw on the 15th when he dropped, this card took a hit for a couple days. Sometimes they'll take a hit for a couple days. Sometimes they take a couple hits. They take a hit for a couple hours. Now, this Bruno Player of the Month SBC was very cheap. That's why this card tanked so much. But as you guys can see, there was a rebound play. I don't expect Neymar to dip down for a couple days if he drops. but I do expect a rebound to come. And as you can see, Bruno did that. Now, if it is Volland, like I said, you won't see, the market probably won't move at all to that, and that's just something. Fodder might go down a little bit, but I don't see too much of a problem. I think it's a very low risk SBC to kind of invest in. Realistically, I don't see a problem with it at all. We'll find out when the SBC is going to drop, guys. I don't know. There is still like 10-13 days left on the current one, so I'd imagine he'll end up coming out next week. I want to say midweek next week, but you never know. It could be 2 Fridays from now, but usually it's around about a week after the voting drops, so I'd imagine around next Monday or Tuesday we'll likely see it. But again, I'm not EA, so I don't know. With that being said, that'll wrap up this video. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a thumbs up on it. Subscribe if you're new. We got a ton of Future Stars content coming out. And yeah, until next time, guys.